Hello there, what is going on, everyone? We are coming to you today with another Star Trek Into the Unknown video where we're going to talk about some of the latest news and make the unknown known. So we're going beyond into the unknown. Should we call this now the Crabbok Show, that which is now known? A Star Trek show. All proceeds go directly to the Grand Nagus, courtesy of Quark Enterprises. I don't know. Give me an idea what you think down in the comment section below. We've got, on a serious note, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. They dropped a new ship pack. We're going to talk about that, some new rules updates that are coming, new missions, the next expansion, all of these things. I'm a little overdue on talking about Star Trek Into the Unknown. There's been quite a few things that have dropped recently, although admittedly maybe not as much as fans of this game and of Star Trek have been wanting. It is going to be a good year for Star Trek. It's the 60th anniversary, which is going to take us into what inspired this new ship pack. So there's a 60th anniversary Enterprise. We're about to talk about that. Before I do, I want to talk about sponsors a little bit. Check out Battle Foam. They're doing a big sale this week. It's from like the 11th all the way to the end of the week. It's their birthday sale. You can get 25% off. But you still use my code if you want. It's Crabbok VIP over at Battle Foam. Also, use code Crabbok15 over at Game Toppers for mats and accessories if you're looking for really cool play mats for your games of Star Trek or your board games, or if you have a game topper, any of the accessories, anything else you want to get there, use code Crabbok15. Definitely check them out. Very cool stuff. Love to have them. Links are in the description below, as well as links to the different things that we're going to talk about in this video. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Another Enterprise. There's going to be a 60th anniversary Enterprise D ship pack that they've put out. If you're not familiar with the ship packs, these are basically just the ship in the base. There's some of the components to kind of substitute this one in for another ship, but it's not everything that you need to add another ship to the game. There's parts of it, but it's like 90% of what you need to add a whole another ship to the game. It's got the ship board and your dials and the damage deck, but you don't have any extra officers or anything like that. So it's really something that you'd probably just get for a display piece, or if you wanted to swap out your existing Enterprise. To be honest, I think the Enterprise that comes with the game is really awesome. Prefer to use that one because it's painted and decaled appropriately, and I think these ship packs are cool alternate ways to run an Enterprise, but not necessarily the main way that I want to display my Enterprise. There could optional display or collector pieces, and I think that's what they're targeted towards, as basically collector pieces. Now, there are also collector pieces that are very affordable. This one is only $29.99, and for the quality of miniature and with a stand and detachable saucer section and this kind of clear and pearlescent finish that they're giving to it, I think it's actually a tremendous value for what you're getting. But I also reckon a lot of fans of Star Trek Into the Unknown are starting to grow a little weary of Enterprise after Enterprise. I think this is the fourth version of the Enterprise that they've released. Third that you can get retail. One of them was a convention exclusive, so very limited. But I think people are eager for something a little bit more meaty, a little bit more game mechanics. And so for those folks, I would say this is just something extra for collectors. It's not meant to be a replacement for an actual game expansion. We do have a game expansion that's coming out, and for what I understand, there are other things too. We've talked to Max. There's definitely other things that they're looking to do to supplement, and we have some of that we're actually going to talk about in this video. So it's not the end of game content. This is just something else that you can check out. Now, what they have said with this is, it says, this pack includes one incredibly high detailed pre-painted miniature of the USS Enterprise D and unique treatment to celebrate the 60th anniversary of Star Trek. It features a special iridescent finish and is molded in clear plastic, bringing a new look to this iconic ship to celebrate the 60th milestone. It even has a saucer section that separates. If you've seen any of my videos with Star Trek Into the Unknown unboxings, ship comparisons, etc., you'll know that yes, this is definitely a notable feature of the way that they brought the Enterprise D to this game and to this miniature line. It's a really cool thing. Great for collectors. Cool stuff. Fans of the game probably wanted something more. I get it. It's neat. It's not my favorite ship pack. It's not my favorite thing that they've done, but it is neat, and it would probably be a cool thing to look at. I'd love to see it in person. I'm curious how the finish, like the clear plastic with the iridescent finish, is going to look. Sometimes it's hard to tell because the images that and we're going to look at a few more, but they're digital renderings. So it's not the same as having it in hand. So hint, hint, WizKids, if you're watching and if you want to send me one of these to take a look at early, that'd be great. But yeah, it's, you know, I'm not sure how this one's going to look. It's always hard to tell from a rendering how it's actually going to look in hand. Might look really cool. Might look kind of gray. You know, I'm not sure how it's going to actually look out. But the renderings do make it look kind of semi-transparent, which is neat. I think that'd be a fun thing to do. And I think that if you are also a hobbyist, this could be a really cool, like, blank canvas to kind of try different, like, shading or airbrushing or maybe a very light coat to give it kind of like a cloaked look. Maybe if you're gonna, if you're trying to do some kind of kit bashing, this could be a really cool way to, like, make a future Enterprise, add a third nacelle on there, and it cloaks and stuff like that. You'd have to, there's a few extra things like the phaser lance and stuff like that you'd have to add to it. But either way, I think it could be a cool piece, and it's not super expensive either. $29.99 for a pretty big-sized ship like that that's already pre-assembled, and then you don't have to paint either, although you can if you want to, and these can be fun ones to do that. It's a tremendously good value considering the landscape and the market and where miniatures for miniatures games are priced today. So say what you want, their pricing is fantastic. I don't know how they're doing it, and it's very cool stuff. That being said, a lot of people still wanted a little bit more, and I get that. So that's one thing. We have more to talk about. So moving on from this, we also have an expansion. I said this wasn't a substitute for expansions. Okay, so that Enterprise pack is slated for Q3 2026. Also in 2026 Q3, Glory and Zeal is still set to come out. Now, Glory and Zeal, we've talked a lot about Glory and Zeal. I've had the developers on. We've talked with Max and Mike. We have gotten some previews. We've looked at the Cardassian information. We've looked at Klingon information from here. There's a lot. One thing about pre-orders from the WizKids shop, they are now shipping with a foil Weyoun crew, which is a little interesting because wasn't Weyoun still in the core box? I feel like they're still, like, I wonder if, like, WizKids ordered, like, foils of all the characters from the original core set, and that's going to be all the promos that get given out over the next couple of years. Like, you know, I'm wondering if, like, the female changeling will be the next one, or things like that, if they're going to do those. Because Picard was the first one, only in that little preview kit. But then it was Cisco, and then Worf, and now Weyoun, all characters that came in that original core set. So I wonder if we're going to see, you know, some foil, I would say foil Klingons, but, you know, he was already there, or foil Cardassians at some point. Like Dukat would have been a really cool choice. Martok would have been a really cool choice. But Weyoun is still, I mean, it's still Jeffrey Combs, so still a cool thing. Still, and I think that would also make our first Dominion, or our first non-Federation foil promo. So that's also cool. This is coming Q3. Along with this too, there has been some word from the devs as it applies to being able to run like incident missions at different ship counts than what the mission reflects. For example, if you're running Rising Tensions missions, those are for 2 ships. But what if you wanted to run them with 3? Or what if you're running Klingons currently and you wanted to run through the original missions, but you only have 2 ships and you don't have 3? We did get some rules for Sway. Those are published already. But if you want to just adjust the mission count, or you want to go higher or lower or whatever, those things are going to be coming. They're not published yet, but we do have if you wanted to do it now, it's been suggested, just agree with your opponent and go with those ships. It's not going to be like an overly complex system. It's going to be fairly straightforward, which is like agree to a ship count and run these ships. Generally, and probably some general guidance on what kinds of ships, are most appropriate for that. So it would don't have one person run all capital ships and another person run a couple of, support ships or scout ships and stuff like that. So try to keep them appropriate. That's the general guidance that we've been given so far, and that's probably how it's going to resemble. It might be exactly that, or it might be pretty close to. I imagine it's going to be pretty close to that. So that'll be an important thing, especially when it comes to Glory and Zeal, because we will have now a Klingon capital ship. We're going to, fully be able to run all of their missions with Klingons now if we want. But if you were trying to run Cardassians as for, with a 3-ship type of fleet, you would have to run them inside the Dominion, or you'd have to utilize Sway for purposes of that. And if you wanted to run like pure Cardassians, again, you'd probably have to lean into raising or lowering, well, in this case, lowering, your ship count and making sure your opponent agrees to that. And so you can still enjoy the gameplay, you can still enjoy the missions at different ship counts. I personally like the idea of higher mission ship, ship counts, and bigger missions with more ships, because I think that's a very fun thing to do. So all of that is coming. A few more months. We're getting there. We're getting there. As more news comes out, I'll definitely be bringing it to you. I was a little bit slow on some of this news, especially on the next part, which has been out for a little bit. It's been out since April. In April, very, very cool thing. They announced that there were some new missions that you could playtest. This one is very cool. Now, these are print and play missions. They're available. I'll post links in the description below. There's 2 new overtures, situations, and complications. So that's 6 new cards. These are changing up the game a little bit. I'm not going to say they're pure combat, but they're definitely very aggressive with some of them, and involve, one of them, some of them are just straight up, lots of ships, let's blow each other up, let's go. Some of them are like, blow up the flagship or capture their Commodore, extra points if you can capture, and like doing really cool things to really encourage you to take an incident mission and like run it a little bit, like usually you don't really need to capture somebody, it doesn't give you as much, and now it's really cool to see that kind of take place in incident missions. So these things are out there, you can playtest them. There's also a playtest reporting form where you can give them your feedback, and we'll see if these kind of show up in future packs or if they get made sort of official. But you're definitely free to run them as you see fit right now. They look pretty cool. Love to hear what you guys think. Lastly, if you are going to be attending Origins Game Fair, it's at June 17th through the 21st. It's in Columbus, Ohio. Folks that are going to Origins, if you're fans of Star Trek Into the Unknown, they're going to be having a lot of special events out there. The Origins website has a ton of different Star Trek Into the Unknown scenario play types of events that you can sign up for. Some of them have sold out already. Some of them still have some spots available. So I'll put a link in the description below. Let's get those booked up if you guys are going. I am not going to be at Origins, so I'm not advocating for it that I'll be there. I won't be there. This is one of those cons I have never been to. I'd love to attend someday. Just hasn't been in the cards for me. But if you are going and you're a fan of this game, this is one of those cons that WizKids sponsors a little bit more, and is like there's certain, like they didn't have a big presence at Adepticon, which did surprise me because it's a miniatures gaming convention, and I think they could have done a killing at Adepticon. But Origins is one of the cons that they focus on. So if you're going to be there, definitely check it out, and check out some of the scenarios. See if they're all new, or if they're existing ones, or if it's something like a preview, or maybe it's some of the ones that they've already published, or maybe it's something all new exclusive to a convention. I'm looking forward to seeing what they have in store. I'd love to hear about it from you guys, for anyone who does end up going. And that's the latest for Star Trek Into the Unknown right now. A lot more stuff is coming out later this year. It's going to be a good year for Star Trek. Some of you guys have known I've recently gotten back into Magic the Gathering, and they're having a Star Trek set coming out for that also at the end of the year. And then also WizKids has Captain's Chair, and they've got new expansions for that. There's a lot of new Star Trek stuff coming. It's going to be a good time. 60th anniversary is cool as well. I'm still doing my rewatch of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. It's a great time to be a Star Trek fan, even though there has been some bad news for the shows and things like that lately. So if you're a fan of, if you're a fan of any of the shows, your favorite show has probably come to an end. Specifically Lower Decks was one of the ones that I was really a big fan of. And that one ended too soon, but I'm always hopeful that these characters and these stories and these things will come back, and we can continue to celebrate them as we game and tell stories and rewatch and wait for new tie-ins, crossovers, expansions, and new games and all kinds of cool stuff like that. So if you're interested in Star Trek, hopefully you're in the right place. Also, we are still doing that $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. You just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my other videos. So I usually say that at the beginning of my videos, but now you know. All right, that's going to do it for this video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are absolutely out of this world, and I will talk to you later. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. So say we all. And always wash your socks.